Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely mind-blowing story straight out of the ancient texts of the Mahabharata. It's this incredibly relatable clash between human ego, earthly achievement, and, well, the absolutely humbling, infinite scale of the cosmos. Seriously, we're about to go on an architectural tour unlike anything you've ever imagined. And the best part? It all kicks off with a very human emotion.
So think about this for a second. Have you ever built something, or maybe just accomplished something, and you thought it was the absolute best in the world? You're looking around, completely convinced it's the greatest thing ever made. But then someone walks into the room. And not just anyone, but someone whose passport doesn't just have stamps from other countries, but literally from other dimensions. That is exactly where our story drops us today.
Section 1. The Ultimate Assembly Room and Establishing the Scene.
Okay, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's make sure we're totally grounded in the terminology here. Throughout this explainer, you're going to hear a specific word a lot, and that word is sabha. Now, simply put, a sabha is an assembly room or a hall. But in the context of our ancient text, we aren't just talking about, your standard run-of-the-mill conference room. No way. We're talking about grand, incredibly opulent architectural marvels. These are the epic spaces where kings hold court, where immense power is projected, and where the most important beings gather. Now, you gotta meet the VIP guest our king is entertaining. Sitting right beside King Yudhishthira is Narada. The source text describes Narada as a holy sage possessed of the speed of mind. I mean, how cool is that? This guy isn't just a wise man from the neighboring village. Narada is a literal cosmic traveler. He's wandered across all these various worlds created in days of yore by Brahma, the creator god. He is, without a doubt, the ultimate authority on cosmic real estate. The guy has seen absolutely everything. Which brings us to Section 2, a king's burning question, or as I like to call it, the ultimate humble brag. So picture the scene. King Yudhishthira just wrapped up this really deep philosophical conversation with Narada about religion, morality, virtuous paths, the whole shebang. And the king is feeling pretty good about himself. I mean, he's ruling justly, his soul is totally in check, and he's kicking back in his brand new, magnificent Sabha surrounded by a whole assembly of other kings. So, seizing what he clearly thinks is the perfect moment, the king drops this exact quote. He says, "Tell me, I ask thee, if thou hast ever beheld before anywhere an assembly room like this of mine or superior to it." Yup, he is practically fishing for a compliment right in front of his entire court. He has officially thrown down the gauntlet. You've got the king of the earthly realm asking the ultimate traveler of the cosmos, is there a greater hall in the universe? It is just this pure, unfiltered display of human ego, right? Completely unaware of the relativity of greatness. Just imagine the absolute silence in that room as everyone waits for Narada to answer. How on earth is a being who has seen the literal infinite going to respond to this massive mortal flex? Let's find out in Section 3, the celestial Sabhas and a gentle reality check. So the really crucial point here is how masterfully Narada handles this awkward moment. The text tells us that Narada answers smilingly in sweet accents. He doesn't just instantly burst the king's bubble or mock him. First, he actually validates him. Narada confirms that, hey, among men, he has never seen or even heard of any assembly room built of gems and precious stones that compares to Yudhishthira's. Boom. The king's earthly achievement is totally secured. He is officially the best among humans. But, and this is a massive but, this brilliantly sets up the pivot. Just look at the stark contrast here. Yudhishthira's room is built of shiny earthly rocks, right? Gems, precious stones. But the celestial Sabhas? Narada explains that they exhibit both celestial and human designs, sure, but beyond that they present every kind of form that exists in the universe. We are moving way past physical construction with rocks and mortar into rooms that literally bend reality and contain the infinite. It is such a wild, stark reminder of just how tiny our greatest achievements really are when you stack them up against the vastness of the cosmos. And by the way, these celestial halls aren't just empty museums sitting there looking pretty. The source details this mind-blowing VIP list of occupants. They're constantly worshipped and occupied by gods, by the Pitris, who are the ancestors, by these under-deities known as Sajias, and by peaceful Munis, these ancient sages, who are engaged without intermission in Vedic sacrifices. So these Sabhas are actually vibrant, pulsing hubs of cosmic and spiritual activity. They are in a completely different league than a simple earthly court.
Moving on to Section 4, Gods and Their Halls, where we examine the cosmic roster. Let's see how this builds, because Narada doesn't just tease these rooms. He actually offers to give the king a full, exclusive, multi-realm tour of these divine spaces. He lays out this cosmic roadmap of the exact Sabhas he can describe, and each one is more powerful than the last. He starts with Yama, the king of the departed. Then he mentions Varuna, who is highly intelligent, kind of the equivalent to Neptune. Then he escalates to Indra, the king of the gods, and Kuvera, whose home is way up in Kailasha. And finally, peaking at the absolute very top of existence, he mentions the ultimate celestial Sabha of Brahma, a space so profound the text specifically notes that it dispelleth every kind of uneasiness. I mean, it is this massive, awe-inspiring hierarchy of the most powerful beings in existence. And that leads us to Section 5, setting the cosmic stage and the eager audience. Now notice how fast the vibe in the earthly room completely shifts. The very second Narada dangles this cosmic knowledge, the source text tells us that King Yudhishthira, his brothers, and all the foremost Brahmanas seated around him literally joined their hands in entreaty. The king's ego just completely vanishes. Poof, gone. And it's instantly replaced by this intense, rapid-fire hunger for the architectural blueprints of the gods. He just starts firing off these specific questions faster and faster. What articles make up each sabha? What are the exact area length and breadth? Who waits upon the gods in their rooms? He wants every single detail, right now. The transformation is just total. It's perfectly captured in this quote from the king. We all together desire to hear thee describe them. Indeed, our curiosity is great. The king has completely surrendered to his curiosity. His own magnificent hall of gems, totally forgotten, in the humbling shadow of what he is about to learn. And honestly, it perfectly mirrors exactly how we're feeling right now, doesn't it? Well, seeing their eagerness, Narada agrees. He looks out at the king and the assembly, and simply says, "O monarch, hear ye all about those celestial assembly rooms one after another. It is the ultimate confirmation. The absolute greatest architectural tour in the universe is officially about to begin." Which brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? We know who owns them. We know they contain literally every form in the universe. But what do these divine cosmic penthouses actually look like? When Narada starts breaking down the square footage of infinity, could any human mind, let alone a proud earthly king's mind, even comprehend their true dimensions? That is the totally fascinating journey that awaits, and something to deeply ponder as we wrap up our explainer of this remarkable source material. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible tour, and as always, keep asking those big questions.